I always play this game with people. Anyone want to guess how many board games I've played in my lifetime? 10. Did somebody say 10?
Give yourselves a round of applause. You all made it in. That was a polite round of applause. I feel like you could go 120% more crazy, which you can do. Try it now. Go 120% more crazy. That's the energy that we need. Now, welcome everybody to the Piedmont Theatre. Our guest today is a globally renowned, voice actor supreme. You may have heard him in anime series. Now, I'm going to say some names. If you love it, make noise when I say it. So, you may know him from Agretzko, Ranking of Kings, One Piece. Or you may know him from some video games, including God of War Ragnarok, Borderlands 3, Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. YouTube ProZD! Guys, gals, non-binary pals, I want you to please go completely crazy and welcome Sungwon Cho! Oh no, keep it going! Give it some more! Someone.
Hello.
Hello. Is it on?
Is it on? Yeah.
Yes, it's on. Now, first of all, I'm pretty sure that everybody here knows who you are, but please introduce yourself the way that you would like to introduce yourself.
Anyone here not know who I am? Okay, I don't know why you'd be here otherwise. But, yeah, I'm Sungwon Cho. I'm a voice actor, and I also do YouTube. As ProZD, and yeah, I'm happy to be here.
And we're happy to have you, is that right? Now, there's such a weird sound that it sounds like an extremely excited yeah, but occasionally it's like it's very bassy. I really appreciate it. Now, since it's your first time, it is your first time in Australia?
That's right, yes.
How are you coping with the time dilation effect?
I'm actually okay. I have the superpower of being able to sleep for like 12 hours on a flight.
Oh my God,
so
yes.
I was out, it was like a 15-hour flight, and I was out for probably 13 hours of it. So my wife is not so lucky, but yeah, I'm fine, yeah.
So you didn't even get to watch any terrible movies as you flew?
No, not really. I just slept. Yeah.
That's the luckiest thing in the world, because long-haul flights suck. Okay, so you're here, it's your first time in Australia. What sort of things are you looking forward to experiencing?
Food. I've been going hard. I had, what did I have? I had a caramel bar. That was pretty good. I've had Smith's chips. I had the chicken flavor and the cheese and onion flavor. Those were good. I'm visiting a friend in Melbourne after this, and I literally made a list of Australian foods, and I'm calling it my Australian food decks. And I was like, I don't care what we do, I just want to eat every single thing on this list before I leave. So Tim Tams! I've had Tim Tams you can actually get in America pretty easily. So I've had Tim Tams. What? I didn't understand any of that, but yeah.
From our perspective, it just sounded like. What?
I don't know what anyone is saying, but
no, the only thing I was.
Okay. Sounds great.
I certainly understand what like a lot of people must feel like in other countries where it's just weird voices screaming at you, including one voice over there saying "do a shoey." No.
Is that an Australian thing?
Okay, so should I explain to someone what a shoey is? so you were backstage while Baby Beard was doing their singing and dancing.
Sure.
The entire crowd started chanting, "Do a shoey."
Okay.
A shoey in Australia is where you take off your shoe, you fill it with alcohol, preferably beer.
Got it.
And then you drink the beer from the shoe.
Got it.
Yeah. So.
I'm not doing any of that.
Okay. That seems like a sensible thing.
Sure.
And I would heartily recommend not doing it.
Got it. Maybe after the show, but yeah.
Ruins the shoe and the person. Now, you are a man of many talents, and you've been producing content for many, many years now. And I know you've been asked the question many, many times, but was voice acting something you always wanted to do? And how did you get interested in it?
For me, I developed an interest in it in high school. A friend of mine would write these radio plays, and he would cast all of us, his friends, to do the voices for them. And that was kind of when I really sort of fell in love with it and decided, oh, that's something I would love to do one day. I'd always been interested in voice actors. As a kid, I would recognize voice actors' voices in cartoons. I would look through the credits to see who their names were. So I feel like just a lot of factors in my life just sort of led to this interest later on to actually try to do it myself.
And who were the names that or the voices that you recognized? What sort of stuff were you watching as a kid?
A lot of you guys have Cartoon Network here?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So back in the day, there are a lot of legendary actors like Corey Burton, Jeff Bennett, Tom Kenny, Jennifer Hale, all these really fantastic actors in the Powerpuff Girls or Dexter's Laboratory. And yeah, you would just start to hear the same voices over and over again. I would recognize, even if they were doing completely different voices, as a kid I could still go, oh, I think that's this person. And I would check the credits and I was right. So I sort of have this weird, if my wife and I are watching a cartoon, she'll go, who's that? And I'll go listen to it. It's something I've never seen before, and I go, oh, that's so-and-so. It's like a weird superpower that I have now.
Yeah, I think a lot of us train ourselves in that way, where you kind of go, I think that's that person.
Right.
You can hear the timbre in their voice, you can hear the way that they do deliveries and go, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you started in the radio plays. How did you move from that into actual animated voice work?
It's just, I always tell people when, they're asking me, how do you get into voice acting and stuff? It's just a lot of grinding. So for me, it was auditioning for indie games, for just making my own stuff online. When I first graduated from college, I made a voice acting Tumblr. Anyone do Tumblr? Anyone here been following me since those days?
Anyone?
No,
Anyone?
Okay, never mind. But yeah, that was 2012, and so I decided what I was gonna do, because I had no idea how to get into the industry at all. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make an audio post every single day for practice, and I did that for 4 years straight. So I just did not stop doing it, and along the way, I booked my first indie game role in a game called Apotheon. And then that sort of led to other things, and so a lot of, it's a very similar path, I think, to a lot of actors in my generation, where we were just desperate to get in and just started making stuff and auditions for stuff online, and eventually, as you get enough experience over time, you sort of, develop a reputation and kind of get your opportunities, beyond there. So it's just a lot of level grinding, really.
Yeah, which I think is that's the thing, it's a job.
Right.
And it's not a thing that you can just easily walk straight into.
No, it's very hard to get into, and it's very hard to maintain. So it has to be something that you're really passionate about, because it's pretty difficult to maintain a career in it.
In what sense? In that to keep booking roles, or to keep in the eyes of producers, or?
I guess I always tell people, if you're an aspiring voice actor, you have to think about getting in, right? Getting your foot in the door, which is hard enough, right? You have to sort of get enough experience and get to a point where people are starting to recognize you for your talent. And then it's great, now that you're at the point where you are, let's say, an established voice actor, imagine every voice actor you've ever heard they're all your competition now. That's really the, you know, sincere sort of like realization you have of, oh, now that I'm at this point, I'm competing against every other voice actor, and there are hundreds of voice actors who are very good. So it's not easy to, I mean, I feel like every job I book, I am like, it's a blessing, right? Because I'm like, it's so hard to book even, a lot of actors, including myself, are like, you know, you probably book maybe, I don't know, if this is generous, maybe 5% of what you audition for, if that. So it's just, it's tough, but you have to love it if you're, you know, really serious about it.
As a matter of interest, how many people here would love to be a voice actor and have thought about it seriously? Make noise. Okay, that's always interesting because some people, like you do a thing like this, some people love hearing and want to know about how do you get in, how do you break into it, and other people are like, yes, I just want to have a good time.
Right, right.
So if we look at our screen, apparently we can see a number of characters that you've had the pleasure of voicing. Now this is, no,
where?
That's just us. I don't know where that screen, oh, there they are, there they are.
Okay, sure.
Now I don't know, do you have a favorite role of those that you have done? This is just scratching the surface. Like
out of these ones on screen here?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I love Kage from Ranking of Kings. I love Hyodo and Agretsuko. I mean, this is a pretty good selection here. Like Kage, Hyodo, Flack from Borderlands 3. Those are just some of my favorites. But honestly, all of these are ones that I really liked doing. So.
Do you have any sort of memorable moments from doing any of those characters?
You know, I get asked that question a lot, but usually when you're in the booth, you're just kind of doing your job, you know? It's not like, oh man, I sat on a whoopee cushion. It's like, there's nothing like crazy happening. Like in the thing, usually you're just, you know, doing your lines. I think for me, it's just getting to work with, you know, great directors and great material. That's just what has stuck with me the most.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, do you have a favorite style of voice or type of voice?
That I do, or that
well, I'm going by the questions that are written for me.
Okay, sure. You have no idea who I am.
I know.
You are a voice actor.
Yeah, it says here that you are on the YouTube.
Yeah, ProZD.
Yeah, it's pronounced ProZD.
Yeah. For me, I think the voices I like doing are the ones that are a lot different than my own. Like ones that maybe I can sort of disappear more into a very different voice than my regular speaking voice. I think those are my... Goofy voice! Sure, yeah, the goofy voice. But you know, all sorts of voices that kind of fall in that range, I guess.
So anything that is actually something that challenges you, that makes you go out of your normal range?
Sure, yeah, and I feel like a lot of my characters kind of fall into that, like, sort of outside my speaking voice. So those are the ones I tend to enjoy doing just because it's fun to, you know, come up with different voices and sort of lose myself in those roles.
Yeah. So what challenges have you experienced in this industry? Because I know the biggest challenge for most people is just getting into it.
Sure.
But what are the things that you've found the hardest?
I think I've been relatively fortunate that I don't have too many big obstacles, but I think just it's gotten better over time, but I think there was a lot of issues with like authenticity of diversity in casting, you know? Like people of color not getting the opportunities that they, you know, should have been getting to audition for things. But I mean, I don't know, I think for me, besides the usual, what it's like to grind in this industry, I think I've been relatively okay. Nothing too bad. I mean, every now and then, I can only count on like one hand the times that sometimes if someone goes, oh, that guy's a YouTuber, he's not an actor or whatever, but that's a pretty small minority of, it's rarely ever happened. In fact, most people in like casting directors have no idea who I am, which I prefer. I would rather they I come in with a blank slate and they have no idea who I am.
I have watched videos of yours.
Sure.
And one of them, I swear, I can.
Right.
I watched one last night about talking about the fact that as a YouTuber, it can impact on how people see you.
Sure.
Is that mostly casting people, or is it more the perception of fans?
I think it's. I think a lot of people online have this sort of conception of like, oh, that guy's a YouTuber, that means they can't act or whatever, which is very strange to me because it's not like stand-up comedians get that same sort of like flack, you know, or even like on-screen actors, you know, they'll get voiceover roles, but not a lot of, you know, reaction from people. I don't know, I think it's just people like to put other people in boxes, like, that's what you do, don't do this, like, you have to stick to this. And then casting directors, I think it can have an effect, but I'd say it's a lot of, can be a lot of, I've been lucky in that I think most people understand that I'm very serious about what I do, and you know, I take voice acting very seriously. But I know that there are people I know, you know, friends of mine who've kind of received backlash and stuff, which I don't think is very fair. I think, to me, what matters is just, are they good at the job, right? Like, I think if you can tell when someone is just frankly not good, just by hearing them, right?
Yeah.
And it can be, you know, a really established on-screen actor. It can be, you know, anybody, right? Who just, maybe voice acting isn't their strong suit, but I think just you should judge the performance and not be preoccupied with who the person is, be outside of that, I guess.
Yeah, and also, I mean, we live in a social media world where, you know, so often actors are judged on their Instagram numbers,
right,
or their YouTube numbers, or whatever. So I guess it's a two-edged sword.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how did COVID impact you as a voice actor? Like, did it have a big change on the industry?
It did have a big change on the industry. Mainly, so for cartoons, before COVID, they were almost always recorded in like big group sessions. Like when you watch like behind the scenes stuff, oh, there's like the 4 voice actors, they're all in the same room together. That was always cartoon recording. And I loved that. I was fortunate to get to do some of that pre-COVID. And then, funnily enough, the day COVID lockdown happened in America, I just was going in for a session that was supposed to be a group session. And then the last minute was like, hey, we can't do it because of safety reasons. And so I went in, did it alone, and then came out, I was like, well, I mean, this will probably be like a month, right? Just like a month, won't take too long. Yeah. Boy, was I mistaken. Yeah. And that hasn't really returned. I think it's kind of coming back a little bit, but I think a lot more stuff is being done, you know, just everyone records alone. A lot of actors do remote recordings now from home. For me, it didn't change too much because I still went into the studio to record during COVID because the studios I went into had very strict health regulations of like cleaning and, you know, masking and everything. So it was taken very, very seriously, and the ones that wouldn't do it just weren't offering recording. So for me, it didn't change too much, but I do miss. I feel like I've at this point booked some more cartoons where I'm like, oh man, I think if this were pre-COVID, I could have gotten to work with, say, like, I don't know, Tom Kenny or something, like in person, but because of the changes in how things are recorded, it's kind of been a little more isolated. But I'm hoping that as things hopefully get better over time, that maybe, you know, as long as it's safe, we can start to do that stuff again. But that's where the major changes, I think. Yeah.
I think it made, because a lot of voice actors who are used to doing post-lay, you know, anime style or whatever,
right,
you know, we're used to working solo.
Right.
And suddenly a whole bunch of the prelay style.
Yes.
Suddenly had to adapt and,
Yes.
and go, oh, right, okay. I don't get to play off someone.
Right.
Yeah. Look, you've answered a lot of my questions, and these people have also submitted a bunch of questions.
Sure.
So, make some noise if you put in a question online. Wow. I've got a
Did one person submit all of these?
Did you just put this thing and put your name different times 50 times? Okay, well, hopefully one person who is here will get to your question, but the odds are slim.
Sure.
Okay. So we have a question from Ed. Ed? No. Yes, me first! What's the role that's been the most challenging for you?
Most challenging. This is gonna sound like I'm full of shit, but I don't know. I feel like I haven't. Am I allowed to swear? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
The following panel will be rated M.
Yeah. I think I've had a pretty smooth go of it. I think the ones that maybe are the most strenuous are anything that involves a lot of battle screams and things like that. But even then, I think if it's a good director, they're always good about like, we'll keep those near the end. You know, we'll limit the. We're not going to try to blow your vocal cords out like right away. And I've also just gotten a lot, like because I've done so much of it, I've just gotten really good at doing it without hurting my voice at all or my throat. Sometimes I'll go through like a huge section of just like the most. Like there's a character, anyone know like Grand Blue Fantasy? So I voiced a character named Vasaraga, and he does a lot of yelling, a lot of battle roaring, and I'll do like a whole bit of it, and they'll go, "Are you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah, no problem." It's a far cry from when my first thing I ever did which was Apotheon. I was like the final boss in it, and Zeus, and I have all these, but I because I was not used to doing battle cries, I actually made myself sick because I yelled too much and like got a cold like the next day. So I've come a long way since then. Now it's like, I don't know, easy peasy, but even then, like usually I'd say that's probably some of the more difficult stuff, I think, for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Axel? Nope. Okay.
Yeah.
This is going to be a weird thing.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you realized that you were an absolute internet sensation? Why aren't you here, Axel? That would have been amazing.
Internet sensation.
Tell us about being an internet sensation.
I mean, for me, it was just kind of surreal. I never thought. For me, I thought like 100,000 subscribers was like impossible. I was like, man, that would literally never happen in a million years. And then now I'm at like 3 million, which is like crazy to me.
Yeah, you're allowed to applaud that. That's pretty cool.
Then it sort of, finally burst in like maybe like 7-8 years ago. But yeah, to me, it's just wild that people give a shit, right? Yeah.
And yet, look at them. There's thousands of them here who give a shit. Yeah?
Thank you for giving a shit. I appreciate it.
Okay, so we've got somebody here who's called Let's Try Enthusiast.
Okay.
So I assume that you are an enthusiast for Let's Tries. So will you do a Let's Try different shapes flavors while you're here? So where are you at with Arnott's shapes?
So I don't think I did a video, but someone sent me a box of a bunch of different shapes, flavors, when I was, in America, and so I've had a bunch of them. I really like them a lot, but I guess there just wasn't enough to do a video. I also just wanted to eat them. I don't know. So, but I remember really liking them a lot. So maybe like I did a Tim Tams one. I know I did one with Tim Tams. I think with the Let's Try videos, it's got to be something that's like enough flavors to sustain a whole video. There's like, because there's not that many shapes flavors, right?
Oh yeah, there are.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How many are there?
It became a weird thing, I don't know, what, a year and a half, 2 years ago?
Oh,
where suddenly
okay.
they started going, okay, well we're going to have Parmigiana flavored.
What's the craziest shapes flavor?
Yeah, Vegemite, which there are some literally backstage.
I might have some.
Yeah, no. You have to wait until tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
Because
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Judging Australia.
Yes.
Trying different Australian sites.
I would like you to be the sassiest version of you that you can be, because I want to see you judge Australia.
Sure.
Yeah. So,
okay, well, if there are that many more flavors now, then maybe I'll have to reconsider that.
okay, Vegemite's weird, but what are some of the other really odd ones? Because the one that I noticed that made me go, well, I have to try that, is like chicken Parmigiana shapes.
Oh, okay, that sounds pretty
Has
good.
anyone had those? Yeah. Just me?
Yeah.
Turns out that's probably why they stopped selling them.
Yeah, okay.
We will find you the weirdest shapes that we can.
Please, find me those strangest Australian oddities you guys can find.
We will be taking submissions of ideas, not actual food. We're not going to just take food from you. That'd be weird. Okay, Zoe, are you here, Zoe? No. Okay. What is your all-time favorite commander?
Commander?
This is what Zoe writes.
And they're not here to explain.
I know, they're not here to
My
clarify.
favorite commander? Is
Yes.
that like that's like a magic thing? What?
Magic the Gathering!
Got it. I've played Magic the Gathering like once in my life, so
But then you tap the farm and you tap the farm three
listen,
times.
I played a lot of board games. I played a lot of board games and card games. In fact, I always play this game with people. Anyone want to guess how many board games I've played in my lifetime? 10. Did somebody say 10?
Okay, well, do I hear 20, 30, 20, 20, 25, 30, 30, 35, 35, 35, 40, 40, 45, 50, do I hear 50, 50?
So why don't you take a guess? How many do you think
Okay,
I've played? I literally have it
I'll
up
take
right
a
now.
punt. 1 a week. Okay, let's go 100. Oi. Okay. 200 says the man there. 400? 600. What? 69, 69. Nice.
How do you know exactly?
Shall we go up to 1,000? What? I didn't know that there were that many. Okay, let's go 1,300. Whoa! 1,500. 2K. Okay, 2K?
1,644.
What the hell? Yes! How do you find the time? So, okay, one of the board games that I played and thoroughly enjoyed was the Firefly board game. It took 7 hours to play.
Which board game was that?
Firefly, you know, the
Oh,
TV show?
yeah. I played that, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Quite
No
frankly,
shit, I played it, right?
Yeah.
I played 1,600 games.
Is there anything that I'm gonna say?
Delivered across the galaxy. Yeah, I played that.
Yeah, so that took me 7 hours to play.
Sure.
Like, you're not that old that you could have played a game a day. And still, how? How have you played 1,600 and...
Because for me, that's just what like in my free time, that's just what I'm doing. Like I play like maybe like 3 times a week. And there's also with Board Game Arena is a website online. You can play games online now. So yeah, I have less time for other hobbies because of it. Like back in the day, I used to play a lot more video games, watch a lot more stuff. Now it's like board games, consume everything. So
what recently have you played that you think, oh yeah, this is like really amazing or innovative?
Right now I'm playing through Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. 10 people understand that. Yeah.
Who's down for some Gloomhaven?
I'm some Gloomhaven.
More than 10.
I'm playing through that with my wife, and it's really good. It's like a really great version of Gloomhaven. Yeah.
Okay, right. Are there any that are coming out in the near future that you're excited for? Do you kickstart them?
I don't do it too often. I did back. They're making like a second Clank Legacy, which I'm very excited about. I always back Aeon's End. Man, no one here gives a shit about it.
They're occasionally just like, whoop, whoop. Like one person is like, damn, that's my game.
So there's a couple that I kickstart, but yeah, I think those are some that I'm always looking forward to.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And board games specifically, or card games?
Card games are included in that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Tabletop games in general. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. Nick says, what was it like transitioning from small form content like Vine to being one of the most celebrated VAs in the community?
Wow.
Yeah.
One of the most celebrated.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very flattering. I guess for me, it wasn't such an odd transition because I was doing voice acting before YouTube. It was just in smaller scale, like indie games and stuff. I think I booked my first cartoon around the time YouTube sort of exploded for me. There was a show called OKKO that I did. Yeah! Great cartoon, by the way. I really love it. And so yeah, I think a lot of people just assumed, oh, he just did YouTube and then did voiceover, but voiceover predated YouTube for quite a few years, and then they both sort of just accidentally grew around the same time, I'd say.
And do you miss the short form content of Vine? Like that 6 seconds of joy?
I do think Vine has a magic that can't really be recaptured. Like, I do not like TikTok at all.
You're amongst friends.
I mean, I still do skits, and I think that captures the feel of Vine for me. Like, I'm not constrained by the 6-7 seconds, but I still try to keep it snappy, so I think I still scratch that itch.
I love the phrase, brevity is the soul of wit, which is why I think Twitter with more than 140 characters is dumb.
Sure.
Okay, we've got one question here from Milo Chip.
Okay.
Are you here, Milo Chip? No, of course not.
Of course not.
Yes?
Oh, yeah?
Are you here, Milo Chip? Amazing!
Wow.
Somebody get Milo Chip a prize. Yeah. I don't know what the prize is. There are no prizes. My love or his love? Both.
Okay, sure.
Okay. You have a totally weird love of two men on a stage.
Yes.
Aren't you lucky? Okay, Milo Chip, back up. Are there any types of characters you dislike voicing, and if so, why?
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I think for me, any sort of character is fine. I mean, I guess if it's a character that doesn't have a lot to do, it can be a little like, okay, like, but it's still, work is work, right? I'm just grateful that, I can keep working. But obviously I would prefer characters that are more fleshed out or more interesting, but they can't all be that way, you kind of just have to, take everything as it comes.
Have there ever been any that you kind of said afterwards, like, if I can, I'd like to not do that again, please?
No, because I think anything that would fall in that range, I would just refuse to do. I've definitely turned down stuff before where I'm like, the material I'm not comfortable with, or this or that. So I usually try to avoid that situation before I'm even like in the booth.
That's smart. Mm-hmm. Putting people's noses out of joint.
Right.
Okay, we got a question from Jelly.
No, okay, yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Hey, well done. Give Jelly a prize. It's not our love.
Yeah.
How do you choose what song to sing as Goofy? And part 2, can you sing one now?
So, for the Goofy, I mean, I haven't done it in a while, but it sort of had a resurgence because of charity streams I was doing where that was like a sort of a milestone. And I think I just literally went to Twitter and just said, what do you guys want? And just sort of counted votes. Will I do it right now? No, absolutely not.
I didn't think so. Oh, I'm sorry, Jelly.
Yeah, pay me first. Yeah.
You will look. You can see all of his stuff on the internet.
That's true.
Yeah. This is not a person who is going to just dance monkey dance. I always remember that a voice actor said to me once. He said, like, "Dance monkey dance is not my jam," and I'm like, "Oh, that's fair." Okay. So, Kat. Do we have Kat with a K? No. Okay. Did you ever imagine viral fame taking you to where you are today, namely Sydney? And would you have done anything differently knowing where it took you, namely Sydney? No.
I never imagined it. No, I never thought Australia would care enough to bring me out here, but I'm grateful for it. Like
We care.
Yeah.
We love you.
No, I'm very, very flattered, but me like 10 years ago would never have imagined anything like this. For me, I don't think there's anything I would have changed. I think I've been pretty fortunate, and yeah, can't really complain too much. I think it's all sort of worked out the way it needed to go, I guess. So I'm pretty content.
Excellent.
Yeah.
You were in the right place.
Yeah.
And we're happy to have you here.
Well, thank you.
Okay, we're going to do a couple of real quick ones. This one's from Kenny. Who is your favorite Pokemon?
Snorlax.
Excellent. Eden asks, would you do another crane game challenge?
Anyone here watch that video I did with Sea Dog? I totally kicked his ass, right? Yeah, okay. Yes, I would 100% do another one. I had a lot of fun on that. Yeah.
Okay, Alexis asks, who has your favorite One Piece laugh?
Oh, favorite One Piece laugh. I'm gonna go with. I love Brooks. That's pretty good. So I'll go with that. Yeah.
Okay. Jojo asks, and if any of these are you, just make a screaming noise.
Sure.
Yeah. Jojo asks, favorite noodles?
Oh, favorite noodles. Probably just classic ramen. I just love ramen. Just
Straight up, no problem.
Yeah.
Theirs is apparently pho. So pho.
Oh, pho. Yeah, pho's great too.
So apparently that is the correct answer. I'm sorry. Angelo says favorite Kingdom Hearts track.
Oh, favorite Kingdom Hearts track? It's got to be Simple and Clean, right?
Okay. And Lit Biskies. Sorry, I wasn't prepared for it.
Good, yeah.
What is your favorite smoothie?
Oh, favorite smoothie? I don't really drink smoothies, but I don't know, like this is strawberry smoothie, I guess. I'm not a smoothie guy. Yeah.
Okay, that is completely the correct answer.
Sure.
Smoothies are the devil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some controversy, I see. Right?
Throwing the cat amongst the smoothie-loving pigeons.
Yeah.
Okay. Jamila says, how do you get your ideas for YouTube skits?
For me, it's just, when I'm playing a game or watching something and I go, that's really stupid. And I'll just write that down, be like, I just want to make fun of this thing or whatever. So it's just from the media that I'm consuming naturally is what I take inspiration from.
Okay, what is your favorite type of humor? Also from Jamila.
Favorite type of humor?
I know, right? Just think big.
I don't know about favorite type of humor, but I'm really into Tim Robinson's I Think You Should Leave. Anyone watch that? Also really love their Auntie Donna. I love Auntie Donna, so they're fantastic.
I get in trouble if I ever use the phrase "pud."
I love pud. Yeah.
You didn't say they'd be pud.
They are fantastic. Yeah.
Yes, they are one of Australia's greatest comedy exports in recent years. Okay, James asks, would you do voice work in Korea?
Interesting. I don't think my Korean's good enough to do voiceover in Korea, unfortunately, but if they needed like an English voiceover for whatever reason, which does happen, yeah, sure.
Okay, nice. Kat asks, what's the voice role or performance you wish you could just redo?
Wow.
I don't think there's anything I would redo. This sounds like a safe answer, but for me, it's like I look at each role as like this was something I did at the time, and it's almost like a snapshot, right? Like, sure, like I think I've hopefully gotten better over time, but I think what happened in that moment is special and should just stay the way it is. So I don't have any things I would want to redo necessarily.
Good answer. Tony asks, your favorite Animal Crossing game and character?
Whoa, okay. New Leaf. Anyone here played New Leaf?
Woo!
Not that many, okay, wow. For those who did, I got every gold medal in that game. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. That's something a crazy person does. So it involves milestones like get 90% of the items in the game, buy them, and yeah. And then my favorite character, I mean, I love Isabelle. Favorite villager is Poppy. That's my answer. Yeah.
Poppy stands unite.
Yeah.
Okay, would you, also from Tony, would you want to be involved in singing an anime intro song?
I mean, that'd be amazing. I don't know when that would ever happen, but absolutely, yes. Yeah.
Okay, do you have a favorite anime opening or ending? This is from Chris.
Oh, that's hard. It's really hard. I mean, one that comes to mind, I love the opening of Mob Psycho 100 Season 2. My favorite anime is Chihaya Furu, and I love the openings in that. Other than that, I mean, I love openings to death, so it's too hard to choose for me. Yeah.
Okay. They're the kind of the everything about a show.
Right.
In so many ways, it's like the distilling of how awesome a show is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. How much time and effort do you put into your skits?
Not a whole lot. I kind of just get the idea. At this point, I just know how it's gonna go. Maybe I'll write down a script if it's like a really complicated one. Sometimes I don't even need a script. I can just go immediately. It just depends on how much props are necessary or how cards are necessary. But otherwise, it's pretty quick. I usually just kind of know. I know exactly how this wants to go right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris also asks, do you have a different approach to voicing humanoid characters compared to animals? And if so, what is it?
Not really. I think the animal characters I do voice tend to be anthropomorphic anyway. So instead of focusing on like that they're an animal, I just focus on the personality and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how often are you asked a question before you put it in the never ask me these questions videos?
How often am I asked that?
Yeah, how many times does it have to be asked before it becomes...
What I'll do is I'll go on Twitch sometimes and go, let's do Q&A. And then when I get asked the same question 3 times, I'm like, it's going in the video.
Okay, 3.
But with that, I don't mind, because I don't expect everybody to watch all those videos or anything. But there are certainly questions that, yes, I at this point have the answer memorized and ready. I just spit it out. So.
What's the one you hate the most?
I don't hate any of them. But I did make a whole video talking about like how to get into voice acting, so I'm usually just like, I've made some videos where I'm like, hey, just go watch that video. Like that's the easiest way, because otherwise I'm just gonna repeat the same stuff to you that I would say in the video.
I love the fact that almost every voice actor I've ever met has either A, a pat answer, or B, put a book out about it.
Yeah, right.
Well, you could buy my book, How to Become a Voice Actor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, finally. Do you have a pre-recording ritual or something that you do to get ready to record a voice?
Boring answer is not really. I think for me it's just making sure I'm well hydrated and making sure I'm just not starting from nothing. Like I try to warm up my talk or say something beforehand. And usually in the booth they'll give you like a character ref anyway if you're reprising a character. So you just kind of do the lines a couple times, get into it, and yeah.
Okay. So you don't
nothing too crazy. I just kind of dive in. Yeah.
You're a professional.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely. No, clearly you are. I love looking at show reels of voice actors and seeing the scope and the scale and the difference of characters.
Sure.
And I was watching yours last night, and then it got to the supercomputer in Bat Wheels.
Oh yeah, right.
And I was like, hell yeah. That's a kid show and I'm here for it.
Nice, nice. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I look, love your work. Unfortunately, because we started so late, that is also the amount of time that we have.
I'm sorry.
I am so sorry,
Yeah.
and I'm sorry to you guys.
Yeah.
But it's okay, because he's back tomorrow.
That's right. I have a panel tomorrow. And I got autographs tomorrow as well. But I mean, you guys have a good time? Yeah. Awesome.
Okay, is there, I did look at, there's one last question.
Sure.
Is there any advice or suggestions that you have to people who want to get into the industry? Go and watch your video?
No, I mean, for me, you watch that video because it is helpful. But I always tell people there's two things. One, just start getting experience, no matter what it is. You know, voiceover classes, theater. You know, anything that you can just get to a point where you are good enough. Where if someone was like, "Hey, come in the booth," that you don't choke. Just get to that point where you have that. And then the other thing I tell people is just make stuff on your own online. We live in a world where people are always constantly discovering people online through their talents. So you don't have to wait. You just, start practicing your skills and make stuff that showcases your skills, and that's really all you can do, and just go from there. That's what I always tell people. Yeah.
Amazing.
Sure.
And the only other advice I ever heard that I like is know your instrument. Know your voice.
Sure, yeah, that too, yeah.
Beautiful. That is unfortunately all the time we have, so I want everybody in this room, guys, gals, non-binary pals, I want you to all put your hands together and go completely crazy and say thank you so much, Mr. Sungwon Cho!